it's Melody here with Design by Melody. I have the second page to my 2013 February layout here. And if you're not familiar with how I do my scrapbooks, I do monthly and I do a project lifestyle divided page at the beginning of the month, at the end of the month, and in between those two pages are 12 by 12 layouts and additional inserts if need be. This is the second part of the 2013 February page in my scrapbook album. So the only thing I've done so far is actually lay out the photos, and I believe most of these photos were actually taken within about I think it was all within one weekend. He was wearing this yellow and white shirt and then this green shirt, and that's kind of how this one is set up. So I have a photo collage here. I'm just trimming down some of the edges. There's a little bit of overhang. Alright, and then we're going to lay out the cards. Sorry, I'm standing on a creaky spot on the floor. My printer is actually out of ink at this moment, so I'm not going to do my journaling right yet, but I will be adding that. I'm going to use this envelope from a Simple Stories Snap envelope pack, and I think I'm going to use this journal card in there. This side is going to have a lot of the same colors, but since it's not going to be side by side with the first page, I'm not too worried about it coordinating. And this is going to be loading on the front, so I'm going to put a tab on this one so you can pull it out and read the journaling. Just going to lay everything out and then I'll embellish. I don't really want that card on there, but I want a little bit of that color behind it, behind the photo. And the same thing on this side. I don't really want the wording, but I do want the color behind it. So I'm going to have to cover that up. And if you would like to see where exactly these papers came from, if you can visit my blog at www.designbymelody.com, and I will include a supply list. Not sure. I think I need to put something here and cut off this side because I like that extraordinary everyday, because this month was really just a whole bunch of everyday type of things. These papers that I'm going through now are actually from, oh, I like that one. These are actually from Michael's. They were the best of Dear Lizzie and best of, I don't remember this one now. Oh, Amy Tangerine. Best of Amy Tangerine papers. There we go, that'll fit. I'm going to go ahead and hear that down. This one's going to be a pretty simple card here. Alright. So that's how that'll look as well. Oh, and I also think I want to go ahead and use this cloud paper behind this card to bring in a bit of that green there. Yep, and let me just cut down my photo slightly. Of course I didn't cut that straight. Oh, it's straight enough. Alright, so I have that trimmed down. Now I'm going to go ahead and start adhering things and figuring out where we need to add stuff and where things are okay. So this is the easiest one, so I'm just going to start up here. Just centering this is the biggest thing. And I may add some things on the seams. I'm not sure yet. There's just a little bit of color peeking around this photo. Let's do this one. Go ahead and work on this card up here. So I think I'm just going to have this coming down about right there and have this up here. I'm going to trim my photo just a little bit. Now that I've trimmed that, I'm going to move this over a little bit more. I just want to make sure that I have the entire text piece on there. I'll trim this off. Alright. Now let's come down here to the bottom. And I wasn't sure, obviously I don't want that sticking out, so I have the leftover, or a piece of leftover that I cut off of here that I can layer just like that. But I also have a piece of gray grid, which I have gray right here, so I don't want it to be too close. Actually, I think I'm going to do that right there, and I just turn the arrows to point towards my photo. Actually, I do want to make my photo. Let me trim it down just slightly. Alright. So I have that photo matted just on a piece of pale gray grid. And I'm going to put this on here, but I think I'm going to round the corners. Alright. Just going to round these with my 1/4-inch rounder. Did you hear that down? And since not everything is, not all the corners are rounded, I like to kind of mix it in on the layout so it doesn't look so weird. I'm going to put it right on top. Alright. And this I'm matting on here. Okay, so what I've done is I moved all of the things off to the side, and I have this card, which is the last one I was working on. I've got this photo matted, sort of matted on the corner of this card. I'm going to go ahead and adhere that down. Actually, this is the way what I'm going to do. These are from Hello Forever for Studio Calico, and I'm going to lay them out kind of like that. I think I'm going to use a brad here and maybe do an enamel dot up there. And then probably one of these enamel dots because it matches. I'm going to use a little bit of this washi tape, and this is going to reappear in a couple of places on this layout, or on this Project Life spread, I suppose I should say. Just going to kind of smush that down so you can't see the adhesive underneath as much. Helps if it doesn't stick to your finger. I don't know if you guys can see everything I have laid out here, but I have a ton of stuff, which is fine. I'm just going to use a bit of washi tape on the back, and this is just to protect, well, keep it from turning since the prongs are longer than the side, but also to protect the card that will be on the back side of this. I don't tend to add a lot of bulk to my Project Life pages because they're going to be back to back along with other things. But this is not too much bulk, just a brad and a few enamel dots. So there we go. There we go. And that finishes that card. So moving on to the next. Sorry, I'm still standing on that creaky spot on the floor. I have to remember. These hearts were actually cut out of a October afternoon piece of paper, and I just cut the hearts out themselves. So I'm just going to, adhere them straight down on top of the photo. There we go, just in the corner. This next card, I have a couple things I'm going to put on it. So this is how it was the last time. And I just took the extra little cut apart piece that I matted one of the other photos on, and I'm just going to put it right here. And this just, not that I need another layer, but I like to bring the colors from the rest of the page up to each card. So there's a little bit of the gray, the pink, the teal, on all the cards, if not all of them, the vast majority of them. Use a little bit more of this washi. I think I'm using this washi on 3 cards. Okay. I have this little die cut circle, and it says 12, but I'm actually going to layer it underneath so you're not even going to be able to see that. And that's to add a bit of that pink. And then I also have a piece of a doily that I'm going to tuck right up here. And there's a hot pink side and a not hot pink, so we're going to use the not hot pink part. That's just to add a little bit more of that. Let me trim this off here. And then I have a few enamel dots, and these are the ones that I made myself. And I'm going to put another one of these teal ones. And I'm actually going to use the smaller teal. There we go. And I think that's going to finish that card. Alright, moving right along. We have this card, and I had mentioned possibly putting something in the seams. So I'm going to put 2 small white enamel dots. Actually, not going to do that. I'm going to put these 3 little hearts up here in the corner, just like I did on one of the other cards. I love taking pattern paper and cutting it apart, cutting all the elements off of it. Sometimes it's a pain in the butt, but it's also sometimes kind of therapeutic. Alright, and actually, I'm going to add a few enamel dots down here to the corner, instead of it being in the seams. I'm just going to use small ones. And then I'll do this larger gray one. There we go. Since I've made my own enamel dots, I don't use these quite as much, but I do need to use up what I have. Alright, so there's that card. So far we've completed this card, very simple, this card, and this card. And then this card is just going to be journaling. This card is also going to be journaling, but what I'm going to do is add a few things here. So I wanted to kind of dress up the front of this so it's not just plain, and I found this Polaroid card, so I'm going to put it here. Actually, I'm going to put it here. And then I've got these little hearts that I'm going to layer on top. So let me put this down first. I'm just making sure nothing is really centered. This little red heart is actually cut out with my Cricut, and it's on a piece of adhesive vinyl. So it's going to go right there. And then this entire thing will be down here. And the card will still very smoothly go in and out. But what I am going to do is add this on the top. And actually, I'm going to back it on a piece of cardstock. That way the back is not sticky. Alright, got that all trimmed out, and I'm going to put adhesive here on the bottom. Perfect. So there's no stickiness on the back now. So that's going to add a bit of gray washi at the top here. To make it look like that's just taped on. There we go. And then they'll be journaling on that as well. Alright, we have this card. And actually what I've done here, these are those cut pieces that were cut off the edge of this card. And so I just have them here, and I'm going to stick them under here, just to make it appear like another layer, but it's to bring in a little bit more of that teal. We'll do the same thing on the bottom. And actually, having this grid, I can line it up pretty easily. And then I have these little ticket stubs. Just got to cut the little notch out. And then these are going to be layered on top, like that. There we go. Alright, I actually do want to put this hard, so what I'm going to do is adhere it down, and then I'm going to have to adhere it to a white piece of cardstock and then cut around it. This is a vellum heart. I really like the way it looks, but since it's on pattern paper, you can see it straight through. And I'll just do that right on top. Alright, that's what I'm going to do, and then I'll cut off the edge. There we go. And then since this is on the bottom corner, I'm going to add a few enamel dots up here just to add a little bit of, to make it all seem cohesive. Do this one again. Alright, there we go. Then we have this card, and I'm going to add this little camera to the bottom right. It's not going to be the whole camera, it's just going to be peeking on. And on top of that, I'm going to add a little heart. This Tombow Mono goes a long way when you only use it dot by dot. And then I'm also going to add one enamel dot here. Do I want the big one? I do. I put the big one right here in the middle of the camera. And then I'm going to cut off the excess. There we go. And there's that one. It's kind of like the camera's peeking on as Kaylin's peeking around my shoulder. Alright, so now let me show you the full layout. Alright, so this is the completed spread. We have 4 4x6s and 4 3x4s. There's a photo collage up here. There are 5 other small photos plus 2 journaling spots. I didn't have a lot of photos this month except for this right here, which I just combined all into one since they're all almost exactly the same, just slightly different. I hope you guys like it. Let me know if you have any questions or would like to see something specific, but just keep an eye out. I'll have lots of more layouts and Project Life spreads coming up soon. Thank you. Bye.